A man is leaving after filling up his tank. The old man behind him insists on giving him 2 bottles of water. The man impatiently takes the water. He then throws them in the back seat, but he could never have dreamed that these 2 bottles of ordinary mineral water would have saved his life. After filling up the tank, the man continued on his way. He drove into a tunnel that had just been completed, but as soon as the car was inside, he felt that something was wrong. There was a loud noise coming from the tunnel. It's a chilling sound. The man gets nervous. He speeds up the car. He looks around in fear, fearing that he might encounter some kind of danger. But just then, something even more bizarre happens. The tunnel lights began to flicker. It seemed to indicate a mysterious danger was about to strike. The man's eyes whitened in fear. He stepped on the gas to get out of the way, but the next second, the tunnel behind him suddenly collapsed. What was once solid steel and concrete now crumbled like rain and crashed into his car. Before the man could react, the tunnel in front of him started to collapse too, and finally it broke in 2 in the middle. He didn't even have a chance to scream, and his eyes went black. He lost consciousness. After an unknown period of time, the man woke up from his coma. He cautiously turned on the headlights. It took him a while to recover from the shock. He began to look around him. The car was a mess. There was debris and mud everywhere. The car squeezed into the wreckage. The man pulls the broken cable from under his feet. The man finds the dusty phone. Fortunately, the phone was not broken. He immediately dials 119. Then he raises his hand. In a place where there was a signal, he got on the phone with the rescuers. I've been informed of the situation. The rescuers promised to be on the scene within 5 minutes. The man hangs up the phone. He breathes a long sigh of relief. He picks up the mineral water from the rubble. The old man at the petrol station is a pain in the arse, he thinks. If he hadn't waited so long, he would have been out of the tunnel by now. With that in mind, the man lifted the bottle in anger. He gulped it down. He didn't stop until there was only a little bit of water left in the bottle. After drinking the water, the man turned on his mobile phone torch, checking the damage to the car, while waiting for help to arrive. But after half an hour had passed, the man still couldn't wait for a call from the rescue team. When he called again, there was no answer. Just as he was getting worried, a phone call came in. The man rushed to pick up the phone, but when he heard the caller's words, he turned pale. The seeker's heart plunged to the bottom. It turned out that the collapse of the tunnel was even worse than the man had imagined. Half the mountain had been reduced to rubble. When the rescue team arrived at the scene, there was no way to rescue him. He didn't answer his phone so he could stay calm. When he heard this, the man became desperate. He pleaded with the person on the other end to find a way to get him out. But the caller was just a journalist who was grabbing hotspots. He didn't care about his death. Instead, he kept asking him how he was feeling. Did he have anything to say to the audience? At that moment, the rescue leader outside saw the news. He rushed to the reporter, angrily interrupting the interview. Then he went back to the tent. With a heavy heart, he dialed the man's number. The man on the other end of the line was shaking with anger. The man on the other end of the line was shaking with anger and cursing the captain for cheating on him. In the face of the man's accusations, the captain did not dare to retort. He could only give him a long and serious, taught him a series of survival techniques. He then repeatedly promised that he would get the man out. Hanging up the phone, the man hurriedly reported to his wife that he was safe. Then he began to sort out the survival supplies he had. The mineral water that he had originally disliked. Now it was a life-saving treasure. He poured the water into the bottle cap as the captain had told him to do. He drank a little at a time. He moistened his mouth well before swallowing. After drinking the water, the man takes out the buttercream he was supposed to give his daughter. He carefully scrapes off the dust. Then he takes a piece of orange and stuffs it into his mouth. For dinner, when he has eaten and drunk enough, the man removes the stones from the back row, curled up on the seat to rest and conserve his strength, hoping to get out tomorrow. But by the next day, the rescue operation starts with a problem. There were no signal detecting drones in the tunnel. As soon as they entered the tunnel, they crashed. There was no way to see inside. The captain had no choice but to drive into the tunnel with his assistant. Risking being buried, the captain drove into the tunnel. At the worst part of the collapse, he stopped the car and went to investigate the rubble alone. When the assistant accidentally honked his horn, the captain was startled. He turned around and angrily scolded him, saying that too much noise and vibration could cause a collapse at any time. We must keep it as quiet as possible. But no one expected the sound